So buckle up, because this lecture is in Dutch. Just or Russian, joking. A lot of people ask me, are you from Germany? Because someone said I'm from Germany. Norway, no. On the back, someone asked me from Russia. No, I'm from Amsterdam, actually. It's my absolute pleasure to be here today and to get the opportunity to talk about nutrition, our health, our well-being, and what nutrition has to do with that. Health doesn't come easy for us. Being in a wheelchair, having a spinal cord injury is, how silly as it may sound, in fact one of the least problems we have. Once I end up in a wheelchair and lead a 100% sedentary life, you have so many health risks, because spinal cord injury in effect is one of the most complex conditions you can have. It affects so many body systems. So we are at very high risk of obesity, of course, but also diabetes type 2, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, poor healing wounds, we all know that, bladder problems, kidney problems, whatsoever. So we're going to talk about that in a bit, very boring. So let me start, joking, let me start by telling you a little bit about me and my background. See how this works. Oh yeah, see, this is me. Oh, I can look here. It was me as a baby. On the right, I think I was around about 6 or so. On the left, I was 11, just before I got my handicap actually. On the right, the same. So, a healthy girl, a sporty girl, a little bit shy girl, I still am. Maybe you don't believe it, but it's true. A happy girl, and no one knew or foresaw what was coming. So what was coming was this. On one night, I went to bed completely healthy. On hindsight, there were some signs like feeling a bit nauseous, a little bit more extra tired than normal. I fainted 2 times at school, but my parents said, well, that comes with growing up. No one thought the worst, of course. You think, oh, yeah, my child is a child and is growing up. So it was my first wheelchair actually, chair like this. I remember that how silly it may sound again, when I got the chair, I thought, okay, now I can move on. Give me a chair and I can live again. So from the start, there came a calm acceptance state over me or so, and the only pain I had really was the pain I saw my parents had. But me, I always thought, well, this belongs to me. It felt like the whole handicap belonged to me and my life's journey. The warning signs I told you about. Well, despite my acceptive state, I went 5 years internal to the rehab. That doesn't happen anymore. Those were the 80s. I'm almost 50 years now. So I was 11 years when I got in a wheelchair. And at that time, most children who got a handicap ended up in rehab for years. So I was 11 and I got home when I was 16, 17. This was one of the rehab centers. I stayed in 2 actually. First in Rotterdam, 2.5 years. And then in Friesland, here in it's called Limenstein. Another 2.5 years. This was my mother. I was very lucky actually. I had a mother. Do I look like her, you think? Yeah. She died. So she died at 47. And when I look at her, I think, oh, thank God I look at her. I look like her. I was fortunate to have a very progressive mother, because when I ended up in a wheelchair, my mother thought my child was a very active child. She was tennis playing, she was horse riding, so now she's 100% sedentary, so it can be that she's going to eat exactly in the same way as she did before. We must change her diet. But those were the 80s, no one knew about diet. It was a different time. So she delved into every aspect of what SCI meant for my health and well-being now and in the near future, and all the health complications that come with it. And changed the whole diet. She became a nutritionist. She took courses in Germany, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and became a nutritionist, a self-proclaimed nutritionist. So I think that really saved me, because almost 40 years later, I'm living proof of what healthy, clean, plant-based food can do for you when you lead a sedentary lifestyle and have all the secondary complications that we have with SCI. When I was in rehab, let me go a little bit back. This was after hip surgery, severe hip surgery, heavy stuff. I got more and more frustrated and thought, I don't want to walk again, I want to live again. Why doesn't anybody help me to accept? They teach me to fight the whole thing and to fix and to heal and to train and to put all my energy on getting better and change reality. But I felt as a person, as a child, that this was forever. You feel that. Everyone around me was trying to fix me. But I thought learning how to accept myself, how to learn to love my new body, how to accept my new reality. So, yeah. I said to my parents, I'm fed up, I want to go home. So I did. After 5 years, I went back home. Finally back to normal life, but I was completely institutionalized after 5 years. So it took me a while to land again in normal life and to balance between myself and my surroundings. New adventures. A bit of a leap, but I went back home. I went back to high school. And when I was 20, I studied law in Amsterdam. I began studying law. And when I was studying law, I was lying on a bed on a day, during holidays of course, in France, on a beach bed with a friend next to me. And I saw that there was a photographer taking pictures of me with a telephoto lens from out of the sea. And I said to that friend of mine, can you ask him what he's doing? Because I don't like that. Maybe it's a cripple freak or something. Maybe he likes girls in a wheelchair too much. He couldn't see actually that I was in a wheelchair because I was on the beach bed. So that friend goes over to the photographer and asks him what he was doing. And he said, well, I'm a scouter, a model scouter from Elite. And you must know, Elite is in our world, the modeling world, the biggest modeling agency in the world. If you want to go modeling, you have to be at that modeling agency. So he said, is it okay if I send the pictures in for the finale of the Look of the Year of Elite, the most famous modeling contest of the year? And I said, well, that's okay. I found it a bit funny and crazy. It's okay. So he did. And I didn't win, of course, because I was the only girl in a wheelchair, but I ended up in a pre-finals of the Look of the Year. And so that got me a lot of media attention. And, well, it's not that I wanted to be a model, but I wanted to show something. And I wanted to show that be who you are. Accept who you are. Express yourself who you are. Love yourself. Respect yourself. And go out in the world and take initiative. And show people that barriers only exist in your mind. Because when I was in the pre-finals for the jury, and my English is so bad today, and it was so good yesterday. I came in front of the jury, and the jury looked at my pictures and at me, looked at my pictures at me. I made them blush a little bit, of course, because they didn't see on the photos that I was in a wheelchair. So they were a bit shocked, and they said, well, Annemarie, you're really beautiful, but always the big but. And what was the but? The Frenchman in the jury said, Annemarie, fashion is movement. I thought, okay, what a limited way of thinking. Because in my case, then fashion isn't movement. You have to think out of the box. So it was my first, it was the first time that I saw how limited people think, how narrow-minded people are. So I thought it's a good way of showing that barriers and limits in fact only exist in your mind. And with faith, courage and confidence, you can move right past them. So that became my mission. That's why I began modeling actually. Don't be shocked. A lot of people know that I was in Playboy. So I was in Playboy a few years later. I was modeling for about 8 years. And that drew a lot of media attention, as I said. So Playboy noticed that and called me up and said, do you want to shoot for Playboy? And I said, okay, on one condition, that I can work with Govert de Roos. And Govert de Roos was the best photographer, in my opinion, at that time in Holland. So they said, okay. And the second condition I had was, I want a photo in the wheelchair. Because the funny thing was, Playboy asked me, but said to me, for us it's no problem if you don't want to do a photo in a wheelchair. I thought, how awkward. And it wasn't my goal to be a Playboy model or a centerfold. I thought it's good to show something with it, but I can only show it if I have a photo in wheelchair. So the photo became this one. 45 kilos, gorgeous and young, of course. And my mission was to show the same thing. Like having a handicap or being disabled, however you want to call it, doesn't mean that you're not feminine anymore or not femme-empowered. And I wanted to show express yourself however you choose. People think a lot of you. Anyhow, and in a wheelchair especially. So do whatever feels good for you. Okay, there was a lot of criticism also, even within my own family. And I thought, well, it's fine. This is who I am. And I've always been leading my life ever since in that way. After modeling, I was in a lot of talk shows in Germany and Belgium. I was every week in another talk show in Belgium actually to talk about handicap and work, handicap and marriage, handicap and sex, handicap and sex, handicap and sex, handicap and sex. When they had a topic about handicap and whatever, they called me and I thought, don't you have people in wheelchairs in Germany yourself? So funny. And it felt like I became a sort of caricature of myself, the model in wheelchair. Every magazine in Germany said, das Model im Rollstuhl. And I thought, that's not me. I'm Annmarie. I'm not the model in wheelchair. It was just something I did to show something to myself and to the world. So I thought, I'm done with that. It's time to move on. Next project, writing. So I flew back from Berlin with my German agent at that time, and I said to him, he was called Falk Madea, and I said, Falk, I'm done. And he said, oh no, I just broke a German producer and he wants to record a song with you. A song? I can't even sing, man. So I was being totally molded into something I didn't want to be, a professional cripple or something. Everything I did was nice. And it wasn't because I was unhappy. The modeling thing was over for me. Okay, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, move on. And he said, okay, and then what are you gonna do? I don't know. I said, maybe I'm gonna write. Did you ever write? No. But it's with all the things in my life, I do what I want to do. Just try, fail, stand up, and do. So I wrote my first book, and it's not one of these. It was called I Love Me. It was not about me, actually. I was done with talking about me. I used me in the whole book, but it was about self-acceptance, self-esteem, self-respect, self-compassion. Because I wanted to bring a broader message than only talking about myself. I used myself because I said if you have self-esteem and you are centered here and you know who you are and what you want, then you make healthy choices in every way. When it comes to love, when it comes to work, when it comes to your diet, it all has to do with caring about yourself. Not even loving yourself, caring about yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Once you become a compassionate person, you take good care of yourself, you love your body the way it is, and you are compassionate towards others. I wrote in the meantime 23 books maybe. I don't count them anymore. I'm a book machine. At least I was. Actually, I hate writing now. I wrote so much books. And it's such a solitary existence. You write for months, then you go out, promote, and you go back into your room, write for months, go out. But 3 or 4 of the books are translated in a lot of languages. Also English was The Secret Within and The Power of Acceptance. I think acceptance is a very important thing for us too. So stop fighting reality all the time. In Holland, I don't know if they have it here. In rehab, we have an evidence-based approach of pain. And that's called ACT, Acceptance and Commitment Therapy. So it's proven that once you are in an acceptive state and don't fight pain anymore, you can manage the pain better. So that's what I'm always teaching. The art and the power of acceptance. So acceptance is not something you do actually. It's something you let go of. Letting go of your resistance towards reality and make room for reality. Just making room. Stop discussing with reality every day. I'm in a wheelchair. I didn't want it. I can't walk. I want to walk on a beach with my husband. I can't have sex standing up. Yeah, you can. So get over yourself. It's all about getting over yourself. And I mean, it's getting over your thoughts and what your ego wants from life. I replace the question, what do I want from life, for what does life want from me? Trust the process and go with the flow a little bit more. Then the pain in every aspect of your life gets less. In the meantime, I wrote also diet books. And why was that? When I was modeling, everyone kept on asking me, how can it be that you lead a sedentary life, are 50 kilos, have good skin, healthy. We are in the gym every day, other models said. We don't eat anything and you do nothing and sit in a wheelchair and you beat us. So I wrote about that. I wrote about my diet, the things my mother taught me already, and the things I learned along the way with falling and trial and error. Yeah. So the first book was The Body is Perfect, and the second book, Life is Perfect. After that, a few years later, I think 2014, I wrote The Sitting Chef. And The Sitting Chef was all about a sedentary lifestyle, voluntarily or not, what that does to your body, and how you can combat all those health hazards with the right food choices. Everyone knows that when you're in a wheelchair or not, or just sitting in the office all day, that a sedentary lifestyle leads to obesity, higher risk of diabetes, type 2, cardiovascular disease. So imagine what it implicates for us. People who lead a voluntary sedentary lifestyle can stand up or go exercising. You can't. So nutrition is even more important for us. My last project up till now is I founded my own medical center last year. So I co-founded the first lifestyle medicine center in the Netherlands, and I formed a medical team of rehab. We have very, very passionate rehab doctor. We work with psychologists, nutritionists. I work there as well, and we developed a total evidence-based lifestyle medicine approach to combat. To combat chronic disease like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, accelerated aging. Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Accelerated aging is such a big thing for us too. Once you sit in a wheelchair, your aging process goes so much faster. And now we're rolling out this concept within the Netherlands and abroad. Well, I have a little exercise. I don't know how much time do we still have? Half an hour or so? Yeah, okay. Then let's try to do this. Obvious within everyone's personal abilities. This is a very nice exercise. It's a bit weird. I do them a lot. I do this exercise a lot, and some people are a bit like, I don't want to do this because the snot can come out of your nose. But don't worry how you look or if you snivel, just follow after me. Arms up in the air as straight as you can and breathe in. It's to energize your whole body, to get more oxygen into your system. It works. If you do this every day, you can't believe what it does to you. Okay, breathe in. And this is the nice part. Pull the air literally down your body. Can you feel what it does to you already? We need this. We sit all day. This is one of the few things you can do to get energized. Okay, 15 times. I snot out of my nose. You? This was the 5th one, or? Brave people you are. I think my English will get a lot better now too. I think you feel better now. If you do this after dinner, after eating carbs, you feel so much better. If you're tired, go sit in a corner, whatever people think of you. Just do this. It's good for your body, good for your mind. Remember this. Okay, now the boring part, so buckle up. It's going to be very boring, but interesting and yeah. Eating well to prevent secondary complications in our situation. What are you being asked by doctors? Most of the time, what are you taking or not? Is there any doctor you have who asks you, what are you eating? What do you have in your fridge or your cabinets? Maybe one or two. Equally important question, but not so often asked, what are you eating? What do you have in your fridge? What was your breakfast? Our doctors at my medical center, we have a protocol. They first have to ask when you come in. The first question is, what was your breakfast? Then tell me what you eat and we know who you are. Especially for us, what are you eating is a crucial question, is key for us. For us, bad diet is disease directly. It's too bad that no one taught us that in rehab. It's now coming more and more. Lifestyle medicine, we live in the era of lifestyle medicine in effect, but it still has to infiltrate in hospitals, nursing homes and rehabilitation centers. It's new, but it's coming. So bad diet is disease, and this is why. Spinal cord injury patients face many serious health problems besides paralysis. Buckle up and look at this. This is no joke, this is all science-based. Obesity, cardiovascular disease, urinary tract infections, we all have them or had them. I almost never have them because of the way I eat. Problems with your constipation, diarrhea, with your intestines, bowel intestines, osteoporosis, fatigue. Everyone I know in a wheelchair is high. A lot of people are depressed. Not because they're not accepting their wheelchair or their handicap or disability or different ability, however you want to call it, but because of the biochemical things that happen in your body. It's not when I say to people who know nothing about our situation, I tell them a lot of people with SCI are depressed. They say, yeah, of course, because it's so hard to live in a wheelchair. No, wrong. Depression has a lot to do with high blood sugar levels and high insulin levels. We come back to that later. Once you know that, it gives you power to change it. Don't think if you are depressed, oh, I'm such a loser, I'm depressed, I'm not able to accept my handicap. It's biochemical in our situation. You can do something about it. And I'll learn you that later. Sleep apnea, a lot of people, we test when there are coming people in wheelchairs in our medical center, we test on blood sugar and at the same time sleep apnea. Even thin people have it in a wheelchair. Dementia, very important. If you're a little bit foggy or whatever, pay attention. People with SCI, this is also proven, also experience nutrient deficiency. So take a look. I'm not gonna read them to you. Take a look at it. Very important to take D every day. Magnesium oil. It's good against pain also. Using magnesium oil on your legs, your back, your arms, whatever, your foot soles. I take them all, and more. We have average 7 health complications a year, because look at this list. Now, which one do you have at the moment? Chronic pain? Yes? Fatigue? Pressure ulcers? We come to 3 already. Problem constipation or diarrhea? 4. So you easily come to 7 complications. This is not made up, this is all figures. So the benefits of nutrition for us is it enhances our overall health. It's sloppy of me. It boosts our overall health. It fulfills the higher need for nutrients we have, really. It helps target causes, not just symptoms. That's what it's all about. It helps prevent development of secondary health complications. Yes. Why use supplements? Because of that. Food alone may not be able to provide the nutrient levels required for us to be really therapeutic. And certain medication prevents or deplete nutrients. Having SCI is very hard work for our body, and it gets even harder when you're having SCI longer. When you're 5 or 8 years in a wheelchair, it's different than like many of us 40 years or longer. A lot of people live or won't even live 40 years after having spinal cord injury. Can you imagine that I'm frankly living in spare time? Now comes the interesting part. The main underlying cause of our health issues, the main underlying cause, and this is, if you forget anything I told you today, remember this. The main underlying cause of our health issue is blood sugar and insulin imbalance. Remember this. Take a photo of this sheet and the next sheet. This is the only thing that you should remember, actually. And this is why our legs don't function anymore. So each legs form our biggest muscle mass. So when your legs don't function anymore, you miss 2 times 60% muscle mass is a loss of 32% muscle mass. On top of that, your legs not only don't function anymore, but your muscle mass also declines over the years. Sadly enough, but it's the truth. So your muscle mass declines, your fat mass increases. Your inner fat mass increases, not only on the outside, it's only on the inside, also on the inside. So the result of that is, take a photo of this picture, really. Because even rehab doctors don't know this. They can't tell you this. What this has to do with your food choices. In a few minutes, it all makes sense to you. If you make a photo of this, you have the most crucial part of my lecture today, really. I teach also rehab doctors, I teach psychologists, I teach in rehabilitation centers. And all the rehab doctors say, wow, didn't know this. So the result of this, you have it? Take your time. This is very important. The result of this is this: an accumulation of metabolic disorders, an inability of the body to process carbohydrate-rich meals very well. Now you know that for us, carbs are even more harmful than for walking people or able-bodied people. So this causes frequent blood sugar spikes after dinner. They are very unhealthy. And high insulin levels, also very unhealthy. High blood sugar spikes After dinner, you have them every day, all day, every day, damage your arteries, harden your arteries. High insulin levels, insulin is the fat storage hormone. On top of that, high insulin levels cause accelerated aging. So now you know where the most of our secondary complications come from. Again, this is where it comes from. Even the wheelchair athletes retreat in our center have this. You can sport whatever you want, fitness whatever you want. Your legs still don't work. You still have this problem. So, I come back to this later, the athletes. So the high blood sugar spikes and high insulin levels leads to, this is one of our patients, Gerda, leads to weight gain, obviously. The inability to lose weight for us is even more difficult to lose weight than for able-bodied people. High inner fat percentages. You won't believe if we measure people in our medical center in a wheelchair who appear to be slim, how high the inner fat percentages are. With Gerda, obviously, she is overweight. But that's not her only problem. Guess what her inner fat percentage is here? Guess, take a wild guess. Someone, yell at me. 45%, yes. That's morbid obese. So it leads to, the high insulin and blood sugar levels leads to chronic inflammation, something that's very bad for us. We don't need that. You don't need it when you're in a wheelchair or you have SCI. Poorly healing wounds are very related to high blood sugar levels. Science shows. I told you before, with SCI things are not what they seem. This is one of my best friends. We got in a wheelchair at the same age, at the same time. We are the same age. And she is a top athlete. She was 2 times Paralympic table tennis player. Traveled the whole world, gives lectures, very sporty. 1,000 times more sporty than I am. I do nothing, swim a little bit, yell at my dogs and my husband. That's the sport that I have. But you see, she has the same composition, if you just look at her, as I have. Look, we have exactly the same weight. On the left are the figures of her last measure in our center. She has an inner fat percentage of, my fat percentage is 18. She's the same age and we both weigh 53 kilos. She's a sporter, I'm not. I eat differently. Her fat percentage, both same age, both 53 kilos. My fat percentage is 22. I was a bit bragging about myself, sorry. And her fat percentage is 34. That's obese. Hidden obesity. So that's a big problem with SCI people. They have a lot of times hidden obesity because of all the accumulation around the organs, fatty liver, fatty organs. The problem is, inner fat is the most unhealthy fat. It leads to many complications. So if you are thin and are in a wheelchair, even though you are thin and in a wheelchair, you are comparable with heavy obese people. Always. SCI is obesity, even though you don't see it. We have the same risks because of this whole story. If you ever on a scale and think, oh, I weigh 53 kilos now, fine. Doesn't say anything. Now you learned that it doesn't say anything. Weighing ourselves doesn't mean a lot. Working with body mass index doesn't mean a lot as well. New science shows that it's inadequate to address the real health problems for people with SCI. Because you have to focus on muscle mass, not on weight. So tell your rehab doctor that. Don't weigh me, put me in a butt pot. At our medical center, we work with the bot plot. It's the gold standard for measuring your body composition. So you have fat-free mass and your fat mass. It tells you a lot more because, as I showed you, we have exactly the same age, weight, and appearance. I have other risks because she has a high fat percentage, I have not. So ask for a blood quote. In Holland there are a few places where you can measure yourself, maybe here as well, I don't know. But then you know what your risks really are. Okay, to tackle all these problems and to change your body composition, I developed a few years ago the Sit Smart diet plan. It's a low glycemic, low insulinemic diet plan. It means it balances your blood sugar, it lowers your blood sugar, it lowers your insulin levels. It's low carb. How can it not be? It's 90% plus plant-based. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan. I live 90% plant-based. That's something different. Completely different, because vegans and vegetarians eat carbs. I don't. I eat beans and legumes now and then, of course, but I limit them to like this on a day. That's enough for us. We don't need that much energy. We need protein, yes, but it's proven that plant-based protein is even better for us. It's better absorbed by our bodies. It's better for our internal organs. How do you call it? Bowel intestines? Yeah. No? And it's science-based. So I've studied on this for years with a whole team, a whole medical team. It's not something that I made up. I don't eat meat when I was little out of ethical reasons also, because in my life that is very important, to be an ethical, compassionate eater, because my way of living is ethical and compassionate. But apart from that, it's proven that a mostly plant-based diet with unprocessed foods is the most healthy diet in the world to prevent, treat, or manage, or even reverse things like diabetes type 2 and cardiovascular disease. So keeping weight off and good health is all about, now you know it, balancing blood sugar. It's all you have to know with SCI. There are a lot of interesting things around this that are interesting to know as well, but this is the most important thing for healthy aging and longevity for us. Healthy aging is not so easy for us. Health doesn't come easy. Maybe now you think, okay, tell me what I can eat and not, then we can move on. Okay. Food's good for balancing blood sugar and insulin levels. Now, non-starchy green vegetables. I eat broccoli every day. I make soup out of it. I roast them in the oven with garlic. And low glycemic fruit. Please, no ananas, no mango, no bananas. People, no fruit juices, no fruit smoothies. A lot of people email me, "Hi, Annemarie, you must be proud of me. I'm drinking fruit smoothies every day now." That's loads of sugar. So when you drink one smoothie, you're done. You can't eat anything anymore. You have to make every calorie count in our situation. Nutrient-dense foods. What you eat has to be from high quality. So low glycemic fruit, for instance, cherries, raspberries, blueberries. Blueberries are proven to be very blood sugar lowering. So remember that. Blueberries, 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 blueberries. Good to prevent diabetes. So put them in your green smoothie with some spinach or kale and a little bit of a sweetener like a date or so. Olive oil, very important. Use it cold, never heat it, and if you cook and fry, do it in coconut oil. For breakfast, it's better not to eat bread, so eat oatmeal porridge. I do it every day, oatmeal porridge with blueberries. And replace the grains for seeds. So quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat are, what are they? Seeds. Awful. Ayo, you dog. Food awareness, 0. I've seen what you eat yesterday. No. It's actually very great. I have recipes that you don't want anything else anymore. And it's completely mainstream now. Go to the supermarket and you find quinoa. The difference is that amaranth, buckwheat and quinoa are seeds, not grains. So they don't spike your blood sugar, they don't elevate your insulin levels. That's the advantage of quinoa, amaranth and buckwheat. You can always make rice, of cauliflower, of course, of broccoli. There are so many things available now. So, not too much starchy vegetables. Foods to avoid or limit. Grains, gluten, very bad for our intestines. Bread, pasta, rice. Breakfast cereals, very blood sugar spiking. Couscous, bulgur, millet are grains. Sometimes people email me, I ate couscous. Is that okay? No. And couscous is very similar to quinoa, so eat quinoa. Potatoes, one thing, you can eat potatoes, but eat the sweet potatoes. They're not that high glycemic. But normal potatoes are very high glycemic, so they spike your blood sugar like crazy. French fries, potato chips, corn, popcorn, very high glycemic. Beer, very high glycemic. The Guinness, very high glycemic. Take a white dry wine. I drink alcohol too, I'm no freak. I don't look like a freak, I have breasts, I have a little butt, but I drink wine, I eat, and I enjoy life. But make smart choices because you want to grow older happily, healthy, and not with all the complications that we just talked about. Obvious sugar, but also fruit juice. Don't drink fruit juice. Eat fruit, not juice it, because it's too much sugar at one time. I skipped through it very quickly. This is the plate model I designed. So it's half of your plate non-starchy vegetables, a quarter plant-based protein, a quarter starchy vegetables, beans or legumes, or a mix of that. And add, show it here to you, and add, upside down, and add healthy fats, like olives or whatever. If it's so far-fetched, so far away from how you're eating now, take step by step. I have books, they're not translated yet, my nutritional books, but that comes, they will be. And try new things out. For instance, if it's completely different than what you're eating now, try another breakfast. I tried it for a few weeks, just to change the breakfast. Stop eating carbs 3 times a day. So cereals or bread in the morning, then bread in the afternoon, and then rice and pasta in the evenings 2 times, not sugar spikes. Very unhealthy, not a little bit, but very for us. This is my plate every day. And it's really nice actually. Yeah, it's different, yes. Is it something you have to get it adjusted to? Yes. But it's worthwhile for us. We have big risks. We are a high risk population. We are different people. Very special, different people. So this is my breakfast every morning. Oatmeal porridge prepared with, blueberries, coconut oil, a bit of hemp seeds, omega-3 fatty acids, and nuts. Very simple, and make it with plant-based milk. Because here, dairy meat. Did you know that dairy is proven to be very insulin elevating? So all the all the science from the last 5 years about diabetes and cardiovascular disease all advise limit or avoid dairy. No one tells you that because we live in a very industry-directed society. And as well as it is in the Netherlands, same goes for here, dairy industry is very powerful in giving different messages. But this is the science-based truth. When it comes to real, actual science, we know a lot actually. There's a very robust consensus of what food makes us healthy and what food makes us unhealthy. And it's obvious that the best diet is unprocessed food, 90% plant-based. So that means that your protein from animals, so fish, eggs, meat should be brought down to 10% or something. You can eat eggs, fish, or meat every now and then, but make it 10% of your diet. It's never proven that the 10% harms you. It is proven that 90% eating plant-based is very healthy. It's never proven that 10% animal protein is harmful. Okay, guys. Well, I switch every now and then. I eat a few days oatmeal porridge, and then I switch to. Oh, sorry, I'm almost done. Oh, I'm almost done. That's a wonder. The green smoothies, and make them green. I get photos of people who are treated by our team. Photos. Look, Annmarie, my green smoothie. It isn't green. Maybe 3 leaves of spinach in it. That's not a green smoothie. A green smoothie is green. And you can make them very tasteful actually, with a little bit of lime and a little bit of mint, fresh mint leaves, fresh ginger, some curcuma. There are 2 things that are very good against inflammation. Curcuma, ginger. So add curcuma to your diet and ginger. Take a curcuma supplement. I take 3 times a day a curcuma supplement. Read about curcuma. Take the time to read about it. Put it in your smoothie, put it in your porridge, put it in your meals. And keep this in mind. A lot of people think, oh, I have to be healthy and I want to get weight off, so I can't eat anymore. I eat a lot. And it's not about how much you eat, but about what you eat. Make other choices. Remember the picture of Yolanda, my friend, and me. We are the same weight, but a total different body composition. Now she's in another place, by the way. She follows the Sit Smart diet for over a year now, and her body, inner body fat completely is changed. We have totally different results now from her measurements in a year. So in a few weeks she can drastically lose weight with this diet. But make every calorie count. Look at what you eat. Does it something for you, or are they empty calories? Useless calories. Don't eat them. Quality over quantity. And take the initiative. Time is over to rely on others for our health. We have to study ourselves, otherwise we won't survive. We get angry, frustrated, fatigued people. And the key is in our own hands, better said, on our pain. It's really, food is the best medicine against all our complications. We can, better than any medicine in the world, even against pain. So try, in a few weeks, my book, the Complete Nutrition Guide for SCI comes out. Try it. There are good recipes in it, and feel what it does for you in a few weeks. 4 weeks, and then you know what I'm talking about. And remember that this one photo. You know what I'm looking for. This is the most important photo of the day. This one. This is our problem in a nutshell. And this is why you should adjust your dietary pattern. Thank you so much. I survived this.